the UFC flyweight division has nothing going on. I kid you not. I'm not being sarcastic here. I'm not being hyperbolic when I say the UFC flyweight division has absolutely nothing going on. Look at it for yourself. This is number 1 to 14. I'm going to go down a little bit lower. That's 1 to 18. And we have to go all the way to 19. Asu Albazi, who's only 1-0 in the UFC, to find a single person scheduled for a fight in the UFC flyweight division. A few of them just fought. Mokaev just fought, allegedly with a staph infection. He's trying to fight against Alessandro Pantoja, but literally nobody in this top 15 has a fight. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to give these guys some fights because the UFC matchmakers don't seem to know what they're doing. Nobody is booked. Nobody looks like they have any fights in the work or anything like that. A few of them just fought. Yes, Matt Schnell just fought. Yes, Alex Perez just fought. We have Steve Erceg, Muhammad Mokaev. These guys just fought. But other than that, Brandon Royval and Moreno. Other than that, a lot of those other guys have not fought in a while. And they don't have fights scheduled. So let's do it. Number 15 is Tatsuro Taira. Who are we going to give Tatsuro Taira? He's number 12 on Tapology, coming off that TKO on Carlos Hernandez, beating Edgar Chairez, beating a bunch of Mexicans. I don't know what the UFC wanted to do by Tatsuro Taira just taking out Mexican Americans as well as like actual Mexicans, because I believe Carlos Candelario has some Mexican blood in him. CJ Vergara has to have some Mexican blood in him. Jesus Aguilar is Mexican. Edgar Chairez is Mexican. Carlos Hernandez does look like a Mexican American, so maybe we find another Mexican in that top 15 of the flyweight division to give Tatsuro Taira to, because I don't know why, but they really, really love to give this man freaking Mexican. So we're gonna go crazy. Tatsuro Taira is 5-0 in the UFC. There's no reason he should just be now getting inside of that top 15. We're not gonna go up 1 spot, 2 spots, 3 spots, nothing like that. Tagir's not gonna go that much down in the rankings. You could give him the Tim Elliott treatment, but I want to see Tatsuro Taira against Alex Perez. Alex just failed 1 test against an undefeated up-and-comer. Let's give him another undefeated up-and-comer. It's a good test for Taira. Alex Perez is probably going to move down to number 9, number 10 in the UFC flyweight division. I'd like to get Taira into that top 10. So, Tatsuro Taira, let's put him against my guy, Alex Perez. Another, I would say, Mexican-American. He kind of looks like it. I could be wrong, though. But yeah, he's on a 3-fight losing streak to Pantoja, the champ, former champ, Davison Figueiredo, former title challenger Benavidez is in there, Muhammad Mokaev as well. Let's do it. Let's give the man a step up. David Dvorak, let's see, who did he last fight? Bro is doing horrible. He lost to Steve Erceg, he lost to Manel Kape, he lost to Mateusz Nicolau, beat a lot of guys that are kind of not in the UFC or, they're right on that borderline outside of that top 15. Hasn't beaten anyone ranked, so obviously we're putting this dude outside of the rankings. If Azat would have beaten Charles Johnson, I would have done that. Not Charles Johnson. Joshua Van's only 2-0 in the UFC. 3-0. I'm wrong. My bad. 3-0 in the UFC. We could actually give Joshua Van to David Dvorak. David Dvorak is kind of that guy you give a lot of those up-and-coming contenders to really see if they are legit inside of the UFC. Rafael Estevam, Pete Charles Johnson. You could give Estevam the shot. I'm trying to think who deserves it the most. And right now, it's seeming like a nice little Joshua Van, David Dvorak striking battle. There's not going to be much wrestling there. It's going to be a war. It's going to be a good battle there. I'd like to see it, actually. Joshua Van versus David Dvorak. Joshua's already number 22 at flyweight, right outside that top 15, and there's no way we're giving David Dvorak another shot in the rankings. David, Joshua Van, Tatsuro Taira, Alex Perez. Next, Sumo Derji. Where the are you, man? Where did you go? I can't find the dude anywhere. Sumo Derji. They really drop you like really, really far out of here. Where is Sumo Derji, man? I'm just going to find Matt Schnell because I know they had a barn burner of a war. Sumo Derji. That was back in 2022. Maybe he's not ranked anymore because he hasn't fought in a very, very long time. Yeah, they put him at bantamweight for some reason because he had the Tim Elliott fight. Was that a bantamweight? Oh, because it was short notice. That is why. So, who would we give him? He beat Malcolm Gordon, knocked him out, beat Andrei Sukmamtheth, Zaruk Adashev, but none of these guys are really in the UFC. And Malcolm Gordon, I think he might no longer be in the UFC. I could be wrong, but I think he got cut. Losing to Tim Elliott, losing to Matt Schnell, both by finish. You got to give him an unranked guy. I mean, it's got to be a guy that's going to be fun because he's only 28 years old, I believe. 28 years old. You got to give him another guy around that age of 28, 29 years old that deserves the shot. Alan Nascimento 100% deserves the shot with wins over Jake Hadley and Carlos Hernandez. I think you could possibly give Alan Nascimento to Sumo Derji for the UFC 301 card, or you give it to Bruno Silva. They're both Brazilians, and they both could definitely be on that card. Who's going to be a funner fight? To go with a guy like Sumo Derji, have a better chance of ending in a finish, probably going to be Bruno Silva. So Bruno's on a 3-fight finish streak, just finished Tyson Nam. Allen did finish Carlos Hernandez, but he got a decision before that. I'm gonna give it to Bruno Silva. I think that'd be a fun fight. Bruno Silva versus Sumo Derji in the flyweight division. Bruno's last loss to Takira Lembekov and lost to David Dvorak before that. But those were like 4 years ago. He's been doing really good since then. Let's give him a good test. Then we got Steve Erceg. Now, Steve Erceg obviously is going to be in the top 10, so we shouldn't really be doing the fights to make next this early because he's going to be higher in the rankings once they do get updated. But I don't know where they're going to put him. I would assume 8, probably above Alex Perez. Mokaev probably goes to 7. Probably doesn't go up very much. Maybe he goes up above Manel Kape. And then I would assume, hopefully, they'd get Steve Erceg above Matt Schnell and above Alex Perez and put Steve Erceg at that number 8 spot. He did call out Brandon Moreno. Brandon Moreno's at number 2. Albazi's kind of in that title shot scenario. I'm going to talk about Kai Kara in a little bit. I'm going to talk about Nicolau in a little bit and things like that. Manel Kape as well. I want to do Steve Erceg, Brandon Moreno. I think that call out made a lot of sense because Brandon Moreno, as of right now, is really, I mean, 2 losses in a row to legit guys, the number 1 contender and the champ. But that's 2 losses in a row. And he's already fought Kai Kara. He's not going to fight Amir Albazi. Nicolaus coming off a loss. Manel Kape could be a viable option. But again, I have a different opponent in mind. I don't want to give Mokaev to Brandon Moreno. I got a different idea for that one as well. So I actually think a fight with Steve Erceg and Brandon Moreno on one of the Mexican cards coming up or the next time they go to Australia would be pretty good. Put it on the main card of a pay-per-view, either that UFC 306 rumored card, not rumored, it's official now, or whichever Australian card they have coming up. I would say 5 rounds, but I don't know if they put it 5 rounds if it's going to be on a pay-per-view, but I'd love to see a 5-rounder between Moreno and Steve Erceg. Steve Erceg, I want to see how old he is. I do want to see how old he is right now. 12-1, he's 28. Brandon Moreno is 30 years old, so that'd be a decent match. I'd like to see it. You could put him in just a regular old fight night. I'm gonna check out all the cards coming up right now, just in case there's a card that you can put him on as the main event. 5-round flyweight action, just stack the main card a little bit because the casuals won't like that. 2 flyweights are on the main card. I don't know why this is not letting me press it. My mouse is bugging me right now. There we go. But yeah, I think it'd be a banger. A lot of people would say probably not, but dude, a fight with Brandon Moreno, letting his hands go on a guy that, yes, he has some power, but nobody's knocking out Brandon Moreno. It's going to be a lot of striking in that fight. Steve Erceg has good wrestling to keep that one on the feet. You could do April 27th main event because UFC 306, that's in September. We're not waiting that long. So let's do that. Let's do that. May 18th. Where's the April one at? April 27th. I want to do that. April 27th. Main event. UFC Apex. Do you really want Moreno in the Apex, though? I hate the fact that they're putting on all of these freaking Apex cards. That's horrible. That is horrible. But it does look like a very fun card. A lot of matchups on here that are going to be really, really fun. Na Liang's always fun. James Lontop, Gabe Green is going to be a banger. Hubbard versus Figlax should be pretty fun. Any Haisi or Maheshot fight is going to be a banger. Heavyweights. Actually fun heavyweights. Rebecca Alvarez is banger. Karine versus Ariane Lipsy. You could just stick this card on this fight on the Apex. I hate the fact that it's an Apex fight card, but let's do it. Brandon Moreno, Steve Erceg in the Apex. What was that, April 27th? That's a good amount of time. Moreno fought mid-February. Erceg just fought at the beginning of March. Let's do it. Let's do it. It's like a month and a half. It's about 2 months. It's about 2 months preparation. Just enough time for them to get their training camp underway. Let's do it. Main event. I like it. I don't know. Maybe you don't. That's my opinion. Next one, we got Tagir Ulanbekov. Now, this is interesting. He beat Cody Durden. Solid win. He beat Nate Maness. He lost to Tim Elliott. A lot of people think that was a robbery. He beat Bruno Silva. And he beat Alan Nascimento. But at this point in time, you got to consider that the dude deserves a shot up. He deserves a shot up. And who else do we give him? We're not giving him any of these guys on wins. Manel Kape, Amir Albazi, the champ, Brandon Royval. We're giving him Mateusz Nicolau. Top 5 shot for Tagir Ulanbekov. Let's really test them right now. Nicolau, I don't think deserves to be this high in the rankings. He's got some good wins on his record for sure. Went out and beat Matt Schnell. Cool. Beat Dvorak. Very, very cool. But a lot of other guys beat Tim Elliott as well, but a lot of other guys, that was a robbery. I do remember that one. The Manel Kape one was a for sure robbery. But these ones right here, David Dvorak and Matt Schnell, these are guys that Steve Erceg also beat. And he's barely inside of the top 10. And these wins are getting him number 5 in the UFC flyweight division. I know the Manel Kape one there is really the reason he's up so high in the rankings. But that was a robbery. We all know Manel Kape won that fight. I don't believe he deserves to be at number 5. I'd have Manel Kape above him. I'd have Mokaev above him. I'd have Erceg above him, I'm going to be honest with you. And I think a fight with Tagir Ulanbekov, Mateusz Nicolau would test the grappling of Nicolau, because we know it was a pretty interesting one when Tim Elliott was grappling with Nicolau. Tagir will make that interesting. And it'll test Tagir's striking as well. Put that on the main card of literally any UFC fight. Now, you can put it on another Saudi Arabia one for Tagir. You can put it on a Brazil one for Mateusz Nicolau. I really don't care. It's not that good of a fight. It's just one we kind of have to fill. The next one, Tim Elliott. I don't know what the hell you do with Tim. I have no idea. He beat Sumoderji, so he's coming off a win over a ranked guy. He lost to Mokaev before that, but it was actually close. Like, he could have won if that fight went to a decision. He beat Tagir Ulanbekov, and then lost to Nicolau, lost to Mokaev. That's it. He's 4-2 in his last 6, beating a few of these unranked guys and beating 2 guys that actually are ranked in the UFC flyweight division in number 13 as well as number 11. And I know what you're going to say. He's beaten number 11. He's beaten number 13. You got to give him a step up and competent. Tim Elliott is not a guy you want to push to a title. It's not like you give him Kai Kara France. He wins that one. He's one away from a title. No. We're not doing that. We're not trying to get Tim Elliott back to a title. We're trying to test him. Not test him. We're trying to use him as a test for these up-and-comers. Use him as a test for these up-and-comers. So who? We've already done Joshua Van. We have Charles Johnson fighting Jake Hadley there. Cool. We got a rumor of Kyoji coming to the UFC. That'd be fun. That would be fun for sure. But one thing we do have is Hyun-Sung Park. That's my first option. My second option is Rafael Estevam. That's it. Those are my 2 guys. Rafael Estevam, 12-0, undefeated. And then Hyun-Sung Park, 9-0, undefeated, 2-0 in the UFC, 2 finishes in the UFC. Rafael Estevam, 1-0 in the UFC. Either one of those 2 guys, chuck them in there. The UFC flyweight division is not huge. There's not a lot of guys you can like build their resume on and build their highlight reel on guys outside of the top 15. The guys outside of the top 15 are still very, very legit. It's not like you beat you fighting outside of the top 15. You're still going to get guys that could very well beat Tim Elliott. Like you fight Alan Nascimento, I'd say that's about just as hard of a fight as a Tim Elliott. So I'd give one of those undefeated guys to Tim Elliott. If he wins that one, then we might have to get him a shot up the rankings against literally anyone coming off a loss at that point. You give him like the loser of one of the ones we're going to talk about in a bit, but I really don't want to give Tim Elliott a shot up the rankings. He lost to Mokaev, and he's beating the guys below him. He's ranked exactly where he should be ranked. So right now it's just how active does he want to be? He wants to be active, so let's give him these up-and-comers, these hungry guys outside of the top 15 that are ranked. I would do Estevam, or I would do Hyun Sung Park. Hyun, I don't know if they give him it that early, but Rafael Estevam, I can see them doing that. So let's do that. Rafael Estevam versus Tim Elliott. Fun fight. If he can win that one, you got another undefeated guy inside of that top 15. If not, you know exactly where Estevam would have ended up anyway, because eventually he would have got that top 15 shot. After that, we got Matt Schnell. Did we do Matt Schnell yet? I don't think we did. Tagir Lambekov, Steve Erceg, Suma Derji, Tatsuro Taira. I think we did Tatsuro Taira versus Matt Schnell, right? Tatsuro Taira versus Matt Schnell. That makes sense. I think that's what we did. Yeah, because I wanted him inside of the top 10. I thought he deserved that. So we did that one. Muhammad Mokaev is next. You guys are going to hate me for this, okay? I'm going to drink this. Just think about what I'm about to say. Take a guess. It is Mokaev versus Pantoja. I know. The number 7, probably after the rankings update, is going to go up above Alex Perez. I doubt he's going to go up above Manel Kape or Nicolau or anything like that. They're not going to give Royval another fight, I promise you. They're not going to give him a third fight because Pantoja just beat him 50-45 on one of the scorecards. I think 2 of the scorecards. They're not going to do another Royval fight. Amir Albazi has the heart issues. Kaiker France has a concussion, coming off a loss as well. Mateusz Nicolaus coming off a loss. Manel Kape just missed weight, and he's trying to get another fight booked. We're not doing that. It's got to be Mokaev. That was the other video I made earlier in the week. It's got to be Mokaev. I know it's not the like biggest name out there ever, but the only thing they can really build it off of is the fact that Muhammad Mokaev is trying to become the second youngest UFC champion ever. The youngest champion in the flyweight division of all time. The youngest champion under 185 pounds of all time. You can do all that type of stuff for the promotion and the marketing. And then you got the other side of dominant champion Alexandre Pantoja. Faces undefeated. Phenom. And then they just show all the highlights of him taking people down, submitting them, and all that type of stuff. It could work in the promotion. I know a lot of you guys are going to say, but he's number 7 ranked in the flyweight division when we got a guy coming off a win as the number 1 contender. He's already fought all these guys. Pantoja wants new faces, I'm sure. If anybody else is in this situation, say Dricus du Plessis, he's already beaten Sean. Say he beats Adesanya, he's already beaten Whitaker. Say he has a win over Jared Cannonier. Beat Marvin Vettori, he's beaten all these guys. A few of them have injuries, they're not able to fight. Brandon Allen's injured. And then number 7, Paulo Costa's there. Comes off a good win. Close, 29-28, not super impressive. We're going to do that. He's already fought everybody else. We're doing that just because of the fact that the champion is so good. Pantoja is just too good that we can't give him anyone else. It just doesn't make sense. And Mokaev's undefeated. He's got one of the longest win streaks in the UFC, and especially the flyweight division right now. Pantoja Mokaev, UFC 301. I'm hoping co-main. I'm really hoping that Alex Pereira beats Jamal Hill and is able to turn around and be the main event of UFC 301. I'm really, really hoping for that. I'm not too confident in that one, but again, is Pantoja Royval going to sell more than Mokaev? I don't think so, actually. I think Mokaev will probably sell more than another Brandon Royval fight. So let's just do that. Give Mokaev the chance to become the #2 youngest champion of all time. Why not? Alex Perez, did we say? Yeah, we did Tagir Ulanbekov versus Alex Perez. No, we did Tagir versus Mateusz Nicolau. Steve Erceg versus Brandon Moreno. Muderji, we did Tyra versus Matt Schnell. Did we do Tyra versus Alex Perez? I'm forgetting what I've done. I think Tyra's with Matt Schnell or Alex Perez. One of the two guys. I don't know. I kind of forgot. Let's just say Tyra versus Matt Schnell. And then Alex Perez. I think it was Alex Perez. Dude, my brain is bugging right now. Tatsuro Taira versus Alex Perez. And let's give Matt Schnell. Didn't we do Matt Schnell versus... I don't know. We're just going to skip on to the next one. I highly doubt you really care who Alex Perez fights next. The dude is so inactive. He's so inactive. We're not doing that. All right, next one. Manel Kape. We're giving Manel Kape Kai Kara France a main event of a UFC fight night. We're doing it. We are doing it. Manel needs one more before the title shot because he missed weight. If he did not miss weight, he fought Mateusz Nicolau and won. We're giving him the title shot. Mokaev, you can go do something else. We'd be having a different conversation today, but he missed weight. You miss weight at 126, not even championship level, and you miss weight by 3.5 pounds. You're fighting again. You versus Kai Kara France next. We're doing that. We already did Nicolau. Kai versus Manel has to be 5 rounds. If Manel wins that one, he gets winner at Pantoja and Mokaev. And Brandon Royval, he's gotta fight someone else. Amir Albazi is there. Amir Albazi is there for sure. And guess what we're gonna do? Guess what we are going to do? We're gonna wait for Amir Albazi to get better. His heart is gonna take a while to heal. Mokaev is going to fight Pantoja at UFC 301. That's the plan. We got Kai Kara France, Manel Kape, kind of sitting there as well. Possibly in the midst for another title fight. We got Steve Erceg taking on Brandon Moreno, trying to get himself in that title picture as well. And we're going to do Brandon Royval versus Amir Albazi in a main event as well. That is going to be a main event of some random fight night. Or that could actually be on... a main card of a pay-per-view. Brandon Royval, Amir Albazi. Maybe that could be another Saudi Arabia one. If they try to redo a Saudi Arabia card, they can do Amir Albazi in the main event of that one. But that's what I would do. I'd wait. I give Brandon Royval a little bit of a break. He just had a nice 5-round battle with Moreno. Had a 5-round battle with Pantoja. He's taking a little bit of damage there. Amir's still recovering. When he comes back, we'll do Amir Albazi versus Brandon Royval, Brandon Moreno versus Steve Erceg, Kai Kara France versus Manel Kape, Mateusz Nicolau versus Steve Erceg, Alex Perez versus, I don't know, Muhammad Mokaev versus the champ, Alexandre Pantoja, Matt Schnell versus Tatsuro Taira, Tim Elliott versus any of those undefeated guys, whether it's Rafael Esteban, whether it's Hyun-Sung Park, Tagir Ulanbekov, is that what we did? No, we did Tagir versus Mateusz Nicolau, Steve Erceg, we already did that one, Sumo Derji, who the hell did we give Sumo Derji to? Joshua Van, banger, no, we did Joshua Van versus David Dvorak, who did we give Sumo Derji to? Bruno Silva, that was it. Bruno Silva versus Sumo Derji, and of course, we already said it, but Tatsuro Taira versus Matt Schnell. It's going to be a solid fight. I don't know what I'm saying. Those are some good fights, though. Flyweight, that's what I think you guys should do next, because you guys really don't know how to book any fights. Top 18? No fights? What are you doing, UFC? Book some fights. Get some fights booked. I don't know what's happening. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.